This is the House of Boom podcast. I'm your host, Eric Boom Salvery, coming at you. Today's episode is with Breanna Janee. She is a corporate trainer, personal trainer, former athlete. I mean, what can I say about Breanna? This is a really dope, fun episode, informative, really just giving you some ways to tap into the new year, new me, all that energy, great storytelling, and I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe and comment on this episode to let everybody know what you think. And without further ado, here is Breanna Janee. I say hello to Bree. Breanna, what's going on?
What up, what up? Hello, hello.
Are you nervous? First time on camera?
No, not my first time on camera.
Okay.
I'm chilling.
I'm chilling.
I'm chilling.
Okay. All right. Trendy vibes, you know.
You already know. Big Trini City Bone.
Oh, there you.
Trini and Vincentian.
Okay. We love both, but bigger trendy. To the bone, you know how I go.
City Bone.
Yeah.
Bone.
You know, it's kind of crazy because you meet somebody and then you're like, all right, cool. And then when you find out they trendy, you're like, all right, that's it. You fam. You it's good to go. We ain't got to say nothing else. You ain't got to say nothing else. You know what I mean? And it's always a vibe. Have you ever been to Carnival? Have you been to Carnival yet?
I haven't.
Okay.
So bad. I'm so bad. All my cousins, they were just telling me, they were like, why haven't you been to Carnival yet?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to get there. I'll actually be in Trinidad next month.
Okay.
In a few weeks, but not for Carnival.
So you're just going to go before? While the flights are reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it, you know, because around Carnival time, them flights be like, do.
Yeah, over. Like you're going to China.
Right. And you should have bought your ticket last year if you're going for next year.
Right.
And would you ever have you played Mass at any local?
I have. So, Labor Day
Okay.
in New York.
Okay.
I've done that. I have in other countries. So in St. Vincent I have.
Okay.
But I haven't done like Miami or Canada.
Okay.
I gotta get there.
Gotta get there. Listen. Let me tell you something. You know, I grew up on my American side, but my Trinity side, I didn't meet them until a little later in life. You know what I mean? And I would say that they used to crack jokes on me bad because they'd be like, yo, they would have like little house parties and things of that. And they'd be like, I'd be like 1, 2 o'clock. I'm like, I'm about to go to sleep. Like, what you mean you going to sleep? Ain't no sleeping, bro. And you got to be up all night. You just got to be ready to go. If you go to Trinidad, you have to, I don't know what you got to take to stay up. I know people, when they go to Carnival, they need a vacation from the vacation because you need all the time to party and then you need about a week to recover.
Right. My cousins be like, Bree, if you're going to come to Carnival, get ready to not sleep for a week straight.
A week straight.
Like, what? And they're like, don't sleep for a week straight. I'm actually going to a soca event where I go to Trinidad, and the event starts at 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
It starts at 2 a.m. It's called Soca Sunrise, and I'm like, yo.
I've heard of that, yes.
Yes, and they're like, yeah, girl. And I'm like, all right, so I'm going to take a nap before, and they're like, no, there's an event before. I don't know what I got to do. Coffee, Red Bull.
Well, one thing you got to do, right, is you got to be in shape. You can't just be going out there slacking. And luckily enough, you are a trainer, an influencer. You put programs together. You do a whole bunch of stuff. But where did your fitness journey really begin?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
And when did my fitness journey begin? Like, it had so many beginnings. I've been a lifelong athlete.
There you go.
I started when I was in first grade.
Okay.
I started out with dance and gymnastics.
Okay.
I did that up until middle school, and I got serious with gymnastics. So I was like, all right, I'm going to put dance to the side. Gymnastics, I was going to Junior Olympics.
Oh, wow.
Doing really well, yes. Until I got a really bad injury.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably like 14. Really bad back injury. I was like paralyzed for a minute.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like a scorpion into a stinger. It was a mess. It was a mess.
Okay.
So after that, I didn't know what to do. Mentally, I was done for. I was like, there's no way I'm even doing a cartwheel or a handstand or a tumble. Again, just I was so scared. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I took some time, and then going into high school, I did volleyball, and then I tried out for basketball.
How'd that go? Did not too well. Just
not too well. Not too well. Okay.
Just about to laugh.
You know, not that good. So I was like, all right, that's fine. I didn't make it this time. I'm gonna try again. So the coach told me, he was like, just work on your shooting, like figure that out, and then come back again and try out again. So the summer passed. I did not work on my shooting. I didn't work on anything. Then it's fall into winter, basketball season again, and tried out again. Didn't make it. Then he pulled me to the side at the end, and he was like, "You're fast. You should try track." And I was like, "Track? What's that?" And he was like, "Track team. Like they have a winter season. Go try out. Go see if you like it." So I was like, "Okay." All my friends ran track too that I grew up with. I kind of strayed away from it because they seemed like they hated it, but I was like, all right, let me try this out. And I tried out, did well. The coaches were like, oh, this girl is going to be insane.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wait, what? Me? But ended up doing really well. I ran track and did volleyball together all throughout high school. I ended up going to college, getting a scholarship to run track in college. So it ended up working out for the best. It got me my education, and then I do love the sport. And then
who's your favorite track athlete of all time?
I would that's hard. Of all time? Okay,
well, you can give maybe not all time, but one favorite lady and then one favorite male.
Can I give 3 favorite ladies?
Yo, there you go. Okay. It's your world.
So I would say FloJo, Sonia Richards, and Allison Felix.
Okay. It's a solid crew. You know.
Men, probably Tyson Gay. Yeah, will be for my men.
Mine was Maurice Green, but it was just the shoes. The shoes.
Okay, so that's why I said FloJo. Like she was a vibe. Not only was she fast, but she stepped to the track every time with like the flyest gear.
Right.
Every time.
Right. Right. I know you ran in Penn relays, so you know the vibe.
You already know the vibes.
Right.
You know the vibes. Yes, big vibes. Big vibes. I loved Penn relays. That was something that I missed. Oh my gosh, so much when I stopped running track actually, and I feel like there's you as an athlete, like you can tell me how you feel about this too. I feel like a lot of times we don't talk about enough about the transition from being an athlete and an athlete, especially at that level, to then going and just being, I would say, a normal person, regular person. And just making that transition. So a lot of times once you get to a certain level, it's like, okay, either I'm going pro or I'm kind of just letting this go after you've made it. And when you're at that level, you make that sport your entire life, right? Like it's your entire identity. When people talk about you, they're like, oh, so-and-so that does this. Like, oh, that's Bree that runs track. And that's what started to shift my fitness journey from athletics to real world, because I was like, okay, I don't run track anymore. What do I do now? Like, this is my whole world. This is my identity. This is where I spent all my time doing. And then it was just like me trying to figure out what's next. And then that's when I found the gym.
You know, what's interesting is, well, I wanted to ask you before we would go down that rabbit hole. You ran in high school and college. So did you run at Penn relays at both high school and college?
I did.
What was the like the difference? Did you feel a difference from doing it in high school versus doing it in college?
I don't think there was a difference.
No, it was all the same.
It was still the same. It was just all a vibe. Everything was really the same. Energy, the same. Because I ran in high school, I looked forward to. Not everybody ran Penn relays in high school. Everybody had the opportunity, but because I did, I was hyped to do it in college.
You know, it's interesting. The reason I asked that because I did it twice. I did it junior and senior year, and I would say like if anybody had a big stage, that's the closest thing anybody, high school or college, will get to playing like almost like playing an NFL game, right? As far as the crowd, as far as the intensity, especially if you're running a good race,
Right.
you know, something funny, you know, the whoop whoop when you getting hawked down, or if you passing somebody, or if something happens like the baton drops or something like that, and if you're running a relay, and so it's such a vibe and stuff like that. So I was just curious about that. Unfortunately, my senior year, I was running a 4x4, and I'm running it. So the dude that usually does our anchor leg, the last leg, they put him first, and so we had like a big lead, and then the two. I was usually the third leg. Like I was the person. I wouldn't say I was super fast, but I was competitive. So it's like I could gain the extra gear if I had to hawk somebody down to close the race out. But they put me last, and I was like, all right, cool. So then, but the way I used to run the 400 was I would like go out the first 100, coast the 150 until I get to that goal post, and then once I got to the goal post, it was balls to the wall,
Yep.
and so I'm running my race. The guy catches me, but I'm chilling. Like I'm like, he don't really know I'm about to do it to him. So it's like whoop whoop. He hawks me down a little bit, but he only had me by like 2-3 steps. So I'm like, all right, I'm coming around the corner. You know how like you run it,
Right.
it's like you going around the corner,
Right.
and I see that goal post, and I take off, and my arm, you can see my arms start to open up.
Let's go.
I'm about to get it, and I get in front of him, and he tap. I guess either our arms hit, and I didn't have my grip super tight, and
You dropped the baton.
dropped the baton, and the whole crowd, everybody's like, "Oh!" And I'm like, I was just like, "Fuck!" And then somebody was like, "You gotta pick it up," and I'm like, "All right, cool." But by the time I picked it up, I came in fourth instead of first, and I was running my race. I was running my race. To this day, it's like gut wrenching to talk about it, but whatever. Therapy. We on the podcast, right?
Right.
So yeah, that was my senior year. I was so mad. I was like, and I was so looking forward to getting like the trophy and all that stuff that goes along with it. So track will forever have a special place in my heart. You know, just be, and it's like, it took me like a year to get over that, but then I was like, yo, that was still an amazing opportunity, no matter what. You know, sometimes you look at a loss like a loss, but it's like, nah, it still was crazy, because I was like, you know, played football, high school, college. I've never played in front of a crowd that big, except and to have that in that moment, and then to play in front of or run in front of a crowd that big, and for them to be into the race is like it's everything. Get into your question about the transition. I would say it's an interesting thing, because for guys, I think ladies adjust a lot easier when you're going from athletics to like the corporate world, or just a different space. Guys, we try to hold on for as long as we can. We will go to every tryout. We will do everything we can when it came to football. And so, like, I did 2 years of JUCO. I walked on at Rutgers. Fortunate thing happened. A family member was getting sick, so I kind of had to give them my attention. So so it was short lived. And then after that, I did like 3 years of semi-pro. And then like it's basically adult Pop Warner, right? but you can find some really good athletes in there, and it was fun. We had a good time. We had some really good teams. Sometimes it's like all those people that you went to high school with, they be like, damn, if they had the grades, they would have been this and that. It's like playing with a whole bunch of people like that, where you like, dang, if you would have been, shoot, you would have been all right. Like, I could have used you on my college team, so on and so forth. I know you better than this and that playing. So we had fun. So did 3 years of that, and then from there, that's when it was a dub, because my last year, I was just I stopped dedicating so much to it. Like, I wasn't lifting as much and doing everything. So my last year, I probably didn't get in shape till like the last 2 games, because you had to play yourself. It's like you play yourself into shape. And after that, it was kind of like the transition was like nothing for a while. And then I knew somebody who was a gym owner. Did you remember Straight Outta Compton?
Yes.
You know the guy who played Suge Knight.
Yeah.
He had a gym. I knew him, but before he started really going into acting heavy, he had a gym, and he kind of brought me in and was like, I need somebody to just be here, and he kind of, in his own way, mentored me and kind of got me on that path. But it's not easy, I would say, to answer your question. And I think fitness is a great way for those of us who still have, like, I'm gonna be 80, still trying to raise somebody.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be 80, like, nah, I'm not with my cane, maybe 90 with the cane. Like, you still can't beat me, or with my little scooter or something like that. But
right.
that competitive juices, they don't go anywhere.
They really don't. They really don't. And I feel like it transfers into other things that you do, even if you want it to or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like even outside of fitness, just in life in general. But I do feel like a lot of people that are heavy into fitness, at a certain level when it comes to like fitness, or got into like bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit, high rocks, all those things. A lot of them were athletes that needed to find something else that fulfilled that part of them, mm-hmm. that athletics did.
Is that what fitness did for you?
That is what fitness did for me. So it was a new challenge. Like, as an athlete, like you said, right? So as an athlete, I can't just go about doing things.
Right.
I can just go about the motions. So I saw what I could do. I saw my strength and all these different things. And it just made me want to, like, go hard, see how harder I can go, see what heights I can reach, and challenge myself in different ways. And then bring other people on, too, to show them how to do that.
Now, you talked about earlier how at one point you were kind of, you did the scorpion backflip thing, and you was out of it, like really, really out of it for a while.
Yeah.
How do you use that to encourage people that, or do you even tell that story often?
Yeah, I do tell that story. One of the things that I use that for to tell people is just that you never know. And I even took that into my track and field career. Mm-hmm. Every time I would step to the race, I would talk to myself. And I would tell myself, run every race like it's your last. Because you just never know what's going to happen. That day, when I had that injury in gymnastics, I was practicing for a huge meet. Junior Olympics meet. I was supposed to go so far. Like, this was a meet that I was like, oh, this is it. Mm-hmm. Like, I got to do well here, and it's going to take me places. And the reason why I got hurt, because I put so much power into what I was doing, too much. I, like, sprinted down the runway onto the vault table and, like, flew off. And yeah, like, who knew at that moment? Like, this is a practice that I said to myself, like, this is a practice that's gonna get me to where I gotta go, and mm-hmm. I'm gonna get this down. Mm-hmm. And it ended up being one of my last practices.
Wow.
So just keeping in mind again, like, so I would step to the track every time, like, run every race like it's your last, like, and that's something I try to instill in my clients too, and just like as I influence people and inspire people, motivate people to get into fitness, take care of health, take care of your body. It's just that you just never know. Like, it's really a privilege to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. You know, like, not everybody has the ability to go to the gym. Even if the gym isn't your thing, not everybody has the ability to get out of their house and, like, go walk down their street or move their body or lift weights or get stronger and take care of themselves. So you just never know.
Do you ever I find myself in this space. Do you ever realize that you are superhuman? Like, you have a superpower. Fitness is a superpower in a sense. And it's like, even some of the moves that you can demonstrate, like, I'm sure, like you said, you're not doing no scorpions right now, but you can demonstrate, like, jumping or, like, rail, jumping over stuff, and I'll be looking at it. So every time I see him doing them box jumps, I'd be like, bruh. he'd be like, oh, that was nothing. Oh, that's old. I'm like, bro, do you realize how superhuman you are in that moment? And how do you use that even if you don't realize you're a superhuman, but how do you use that to translate to a client? Like, yo, you can actually do this too with enough time, with enough skill, with enough practice, so on and so forth.
First of all, talking about the box jumps, we should insert your box jump clip.
Oh, yeah. Perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Transition to a superhuman after you tried multiple times, right? But
I ain't gonna lie though. I was off, not a lot of sleep that day, but I was like, nah, because once I make my mind, I'm going. So then it's like, I need one of those some accountability. Like, bro, your legs ain't there today, and don't try to do no. But it is what it is. Like I said, ego, pride. But go ahead, yeah.
Right. You got it done though.
Right.
But yeah, that's so funny because I do sometimes think to myself, and it's wild. Like I do sometimes sit there and think to myself, like I can really do. Like I'm really lifting 400 pounds. Like this is crazy. But at one point I wasn't able to do that. So like you said too, right? I always say with fitness, it's one of the areas and one place that you can take somebody that's literally impossible at one point and make it possible. So you have to build, you have to work at it, you have to develop all those things. So at one point, it was physically impossible for me to lift 400 pounds. Like physically impossible. I couldn't do it at that time, right? Because I hadn't built up the strength and my body wasn't ready or all those things. But because of the work I put in and everything I did and the consistency and keep going at it for years and years, made it possible later on. So like you said, like watching and seeing, like me thinking to myself, like, oh yeah, this is a super human ability. Like this is crazy. Like I really took something that was impossible at one point, made it possible. And I'm really doing these crazy things. But we all can do that, right? As long as we work at it, work hard at it, stay consistent, and just keep going. And it's, also focusing on the small wins, like not trying to go from 0 to 100. Because if one day I'm at 10 pounds and the next month I'm at 20 pounds, but I'm not at 400 pounds, I can't be discouraged because I added 10 more pounds, right? So that 20 pounds is still leading me into the direction of that 400. So just keeping at it and keep going.
Quality over quantity.
Yes.
I think a lot of people miss that. Like, sometimes like I'll be training somebody, and especially with shoulders, because I know that in high school I did something with my collarbone. So sometimes anything with shoulders, I just have to be a little careful. It's not like it hurts, but it's just a little sore, extra sore. So it's like, okay. And so you pick up a 15-pound weight and you're like, nah, I can get busy with this. This is just enough. This is going. Plus, I already have traps and all that stuff. So I don't naturally, So it's like I don't really need to increase upon that. I don't want to be out there choking myself every time I look left and look right. But it's like that quality of weight where it's just like, nah, this actually can get a lot done. But I like what you said, where you go from impossible to possible. And it's crazy. It's like I said, even we go back to the box jumps. No shade to me, right?
Yeah.
It's like you could put a small mat down, and somebody could be so petrified to just make, that little jump from the floor to like the next step, and it's like, wow. And then when they do it, they feel so gratified, and it's such a dope thing to see. Do you have any like client moments that you're really proud of or anything like that?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm so proud of all of my clients. I'm so proud at this point I've worked with thousands of people.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've worked with thousands of people. I do because my work goes from large scale to all the way to private. I have corporate clients, so I'm doing consulting and programming, coordination, all that with large corporations.
Okay. Is that like teaching people how to like work out or get some type of activity through their workday or something like that?
So that's more clinical.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so that's more clinical. So that's majority of the work I do too. I do have a background in I have a master's in public health. I do a lot of population health. I started out going to school to go to med school, so I have a lot of clinical experience.
Oh, that's really dope.
Yeah, so it started out with that.
That free education. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. And then I mean that's a whole story in itself. How I ended up not going to med school anymore.
Okay.
We can, if we have time for that, we can get into that. But it's just the craziness I was seeing in American healthcare that made me want to go into the side of prevention.
Okay.
And
prevention is better than the cure.
Prevention is better than the cure. Yep. And I wanted to support people in taking care of their health before they have to get to the point where it's now out of their hands.
Correct.
So I did a lot of work in population health management. So I do work with the corporations, and that's more. So let's say Home Depot is my client, right?
Okay.
So Home Depot will come to me and they'll show me their claims and things like that. They'll be like, and this is not real. I'm making this up. So Home Depot don't come
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
Allegedly.
This is an example. Home Depot might say, okay, we have 75% of our population has diabetes and 10% are overweight and this and that. And because of that, our employees are taking leave of absence and they're less productive, missing work, all this other stuff. There's all these companies, blah, blah, blah. So they'll be like, what can we do? So they'll come to me and I'll do the consulting and I'll say, like, these are different programs you can implement. This is what we can do. All these things. These are your benefits that they can use that will help support.
Nice.
And then I'll also implement any programming myself too. So if I am at a client where I'm doing like one-on-one coaching, I'll do that with the employees. Or if I'm at a client that needs like health education, I'll do that too. So it's amazing to see shifts at clients like that are larger.
Wow.
For instance, like one of my clients is a company that has, I'm like trying to keep it undercover. They have a lot of like union workers and like electricians, it's a large male population. And these guys, when I say they do not want to go to the doctor, they do not want to take care of themselves, it is all taboo, all of that stuff. So to see changes like that and see people really shift the culture when it comes to health and well-being and taking care of yourself, especially a population like that, like male population, where I have people telling me, they're like, oh, I haven't been to the doctor in 20 years. I'll go when I feel bad. And that's what they were raised to do. And,
right.
You know, these things are just being passed down. So to be able to like stop those generational traditions that are harmful to your health. But from there also, I do like the group stuff, the group work, and then I have my private clients as well. So
you're busy.
Yeah, I'm busy. I'm proud of everybody. Honestly, anybody that's like, that is just doing what they need to do, because it's not easy. I know a lot of people think for me it's easy too, and I'm like, it is not easy. It's not easy for me either. And I'm even growing up being a lifelong athlete, all that, being in the business, right, being a trainer, all that stuff. It's still hard. It's still a struggle. Winter time now, hard.
Yeah.
Getting dark at 4:00.
Right.
That's another conversation. I don't know what's going on.
No, today actually was, because I was doing some running around. I tried to time out, everything I had to do before I got here, and it was like 4. I was like, yo, hold up. I was like, you do the double take, like, wait, what time is it again? I was like, how much time I got? Okay, it's only 4, so I still got, because I try to be here, 7:30, worst case scenario. And I'm like, hold up. It's only, I was like, I still got 2 more. All right, cool. Like, but it's like you double check in your mind. It's a comic book behind you, because I like, comics and all that stuff. Try to decorate the set. It's called Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, and you are like Harriet Tubman, because you breaking people free from these diabetes demons and all this other stuff. I mean, I didn't know that it was that expensive for you, but that's really cool to hear. And I just can't imagine, like you said, because you said thousands of clients. I'm like, all right, how we doing that? And you really breaking it down, and you really like giving people the proper information. And it's kind of crazy, because it's like, even like you said, just like in the physical aspect of training somebody in the gym, even a 10% change for somebody who's dealing with those type of conditions is still a great change. You know what I mean? And you know, our community is affected by that a ton. You know, and so, you know, kudos to you for even just having the heart and the mindset, because I can't even imagine. You know, you get a you know, a regular trainer, you maybe get like 10, 12 clients, like, you know what I mean? But you have to create something that accommodates a lot of people in a lot of time and make it effective. Hopefully that they are receptive to it, even when they're not receptive to it. You know, just that whole spectrum of everything is amazing, to say the least. You know, we're in December right now, but you know, this will be out in January, and you know what happens in January. You know, everybody, you know, new year, new me. You know, and I'm actually now knowing the full spectrum of everything that you have going on. I'm sure there are a couple tips that you might be able to share on both sides of maybe fitness and maybe in the nutrition world, or just some, you know, it doesn't have to be nutrition specific, like you're the calorie counting person, but just some things that people can be aware of as they, you know, begin that new journey, if that's when they want to start.
Yeah, so that's a great question. New Year's is right around the corner. First of all, start now.
Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Start now. Start today. Okay. I don't care how you're feeling. No. Start now. Don't wait. Tomorrow, you know, there's always going to be another tomorrow when you say, oh, I'm going to start tomorrow. So start now for sure. I think one of the biggest things to start off when it comes to New Year, New Me, and defining your goals and where you want to go in all different aspects is just figuring out what you want. You know, figure out what you want first. I think nowadays a lot of people define what they want from what they see, who they want to be from what they see, and all these things. And it's really great to have inspiration. You know, it's really great to have somebody on your vision board, on your mood board, but really bring it back to you and understand who it is that you want to be, who it is that you want to show up as, and what you want, so then you can create a plan from there. Because the GPS isn't going to work if there's no destination. Okay? So we need to define that goal and define like what it is that we want, so then you can create a plan and move in the right direction. We want to move properly, not quickly. Move in the right direction to get you to where you want to be. So that's one tip.
We'll stop it at 3. I ain't gonna have you, because
Okay.
then because whoever's listening and whoever's watching,
Right.
I need them to hit you up in the DMs or fill out an online survey so that they can get this. But this 3 is good.
Right. Okay, so number 2, speaking of that, right? Like stopping at 3, keeping it not too much. Don't put too much on your plate. I think something that happens in the new year is everybody wants to go crazy. Like the motivation is there. Everything is there. We're excited. We want to get going. It's a new year, a new chapter. We want to get started with going after our goals, and it's so easy to pile everything on, try and work towards 80 goals at once, do a bunch of different things at once to get there as quickly as you can. But it's really about just doing it bit by bit, starting small, not going too crazy. And every little bit counts, like I was saying before too. You know, going from 10 to 20 will still get you to that 400 at some point. So celebrate each small win during your journey, and understand it's going to take time. Just take that time and you'll get there, but start small. Don't go too crazy.
Can we make number 3 something maybe on the nutritional side?
Yeah. Okay, so nutrition, number 3, what I will say is think about addition. So something with nutrition, as soon as somebody hears healthy, they automatically want to remove everything. And I'm like, they want to remove macronutrient groups. They want to remove what they enjoy. They want to remove everything, but it shouldn't be that. Like, healthy is about balance, and it's not about deprivation. It's just about discipline. So a lot of times we're removing everything and then we're left with nothing. And the point of nutrition is nourishment, is energy, what's going to nourish you. So think about what you can add first before you're thinking about what you can remove. And it's going to be so much easier to reach your goals when you are adding things rather than when you take things away. Because that's just the human brain. We don't want to, once we think about things being taken away from us, then we're going to want it more. So think about what you can add. So instead of saying, oh, I can't eat carbs, think about, oh, what vegetables can I add to my plate? Can I add, if you're already eating vegetables, what colors can I add? If you are eating one meal a day, I mean, if that's your thing, we won't get into that topic here. But think about how you can add a little bit of extra protein. Think about how you can add a little extra fiber to your meal. Think about how the meal is making you feel. So if your meals are making you feel bad, think about how you can add a meal into your day that's going to make you feel good after you eat it. So just thinking about addition. So it's not all about subtracting. Don't look at it as being healthy means you have to deprive yourself and you're left with nothing and it's boring and all of that. No. Let's think about what we can add. Think about ways that we can continue to add to nourish our bodies, make us feel good, make us feel balanced, and just.
What's one thing that when you were kind of going through your journey as far as nutritionally and everything that you initially thought, all right, I'm gonna have to take this away, and then you're like, oh no, I can keep this. Actually, this is not that bad. What's one thing that you could say that surprised you that you kind of when you started to focus down?
Oh gosh, there's a lot. Listen, I started in this game years ago, right? Like I've been in nutrition and everything since back then when they were doing like Atkins diet and stuff. I've worked for companies that were giving people those 1,200 calorie meal plans that weren't healthy and all of that.
Wow.
So we all grow and learn, right? We all grow and learn. And I'm glad to be at a point where, I received all the education in the world and everything to be able to then provide my clients and everybody with the resources that they need so they don't have to go through that process of going through the weeds of all this information that gets thrown at you. But there was one point, actually, this was a crazy time. So in college for track, I was doing everything to just get better because I had goals I wanted to hit. So I was like, okay, I'm going to shape up everything, my training. I'm going to shape up my nutrition. And when it came to nutrition, I was like, I'm going to decrease my carbs. And as an athlete, at that high level, working out, I had lift in the morning. I had track practice for hours throughout the day. On top of that, I was a student going to school, doing this and that. I'm walking all around campus, all that stuff. It was so bad. Right.
Oh, man. I don't even want to get into it. Like, after the lifts, especially the early lifts, oh, my goodness. Sitting in
early lifts.
Try to sit in class and concentrate. It was like the teacher saying something, and you go from what she's saying to your legs being on fire, just sitting in a certain position. I already know. Come on. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Right. Doing all this, and not to mention going out and, all this stuff. And for me to cut out carbs, that was literally the worst thing ever. So carbs are the body's main energy source. Like, we need carbs, and a lot of people don't realize too. Like, fruits, vegetables, all those are carbs. So I started to cut out carbs. I was eating literally like probably just salads all the time. And when I say I was passing out every practice, my coach, one of the assistant coaches, he was like, what is wrong with you? Like, are you okay? And I was like, yes, like, I should be okay. I'm doing everything right. I even changed up my nutrition, everything. He was like, what'd you change with your nutrition? When I told him, he was like,
you all right?
Girl, you all right? Like, you eating grass. That's why you passing out. He was like, it makes sense. But he was happy because he was like, at least it makes sense. Like, now we can change this, and it's not something that we can't figure out. And he was like, if you don't go eat bread, he was like, you are running for hours throughout the day, plus lifting and going to and doing all this thing. Like, you need energy. You can't just be eating lettuce with a little protein. I think you're gonna survive. But yeah, that was my I hit the no carbs for a little bit until I.
See, I was the opposite when I got to Rutgers, and I was like, okay, I'm trying to walk on. I'm like, and, in junior college, see, we had our meal plan was like pasta, pierogies, like if you had like a burger or something like that, you get lucky. But it was very limited. So then you go to Rutgers, right? Big state university, they got a lot of money, right? All you can eat, like you swipe in, you good. So I was like the opposite. I was like, cause I couldn't get over like 205 to save my life, and then I got to Rutgers and I was like, oh, I could have two steaks. Okay.
Right.
215 came real quick, but then like I said, my third year playing semi-pro, right? It's like that 215 ain't go away real quick. That joint that stick to you. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, you know what I mean. But eating, I implement fasting, to kind of balance out what I do, because it's food is such a interesting thing. Like we want it. It's good for us if we eat the right things. One thing I think now I'm doing, I try to do more of, is just make sure I'm eating whole foods instead of like, you know what I mean? Not so much, but I'm a steak and potatoes guy anyways. I don't really go too venture outside that. So I'm like, all right, well, cool. But like, then you eating burgers and it's like, nah, it's not, all this other stuff. Like eat a steak or eat some chicken, vegetables. But I like what you said about making sure your colors, mixing up the colors. That's important, because sometimes we can get too caught up in the greens, like, you know what I mean? It's like, no, you need some oranges, you need some yellow in there, you need some different colors in there, and that's really really cool. One thing you mentioned also earlier is you just putting up 400 pounds. Okay, respect. You know what I mean? So I wanted to ask you, what are some of your favorite lifts or just exercises to do in general? Like what really gets you going? Because
honestly, I really, at this point in my life too, right? Like I love to switch it up, and I feel like everything does something different for me. First and foremost, like strength training, I think will definitely be my top, just because of the benefits. I love it. I love like testing your strength, seeing how strong you can get and how strong you can be, and especially being a woman in that space. Like I was in the gym. I went to a new gym the other day, and I was looking around. There were no women out where the strength training areas were. And then I looked in the corner, and they were all like bunched up in a corner, like. And I was like, no, this is that's another. We can talk about my Strong and Sexy program in a little bit, but that's another reason why I'm bringing that program out too, because I just want to see women show up in those spaces, right? And like I want women to understand that it's okay, like, to take up space, especially in this place like the gym and with the weights and the heavy lifting area, where a lot of women say like, oh, I don't go over there.
Why do women always think that lifting weights means they're going to look masculine?
Oh my God. You're going to stress me out with that question. Right. Like it's hard. If it could make women look masculine, there wouldn't be women out here on steroids and stuff. It's hard for us. We don't have enough testosterone and everything in our bodies to look that way. And for the women that can, like, it takes years and years, and it's so intentional. Like you have to intentionally be eating and working out a certain way consistently over time to get to that point. So I think it's just like folktale that needs to be.
I try to tell. Even I have one client, and she knows we could joke like that. I ain't telling her business because I ain't really telling her name or nothing like that.
Right.
But I make her do upper body, and I'm like, we're not about to come in here and do squats every day. You know what I mean? And then every time she gets up from a set, she be like, "See, I'm out here. I'm looking like the Hulk," and I'm like, "Yo, would you stop?" I'm like, "Yo, cut it out. Ain't no Hulk and that ain't that." But I was like, honestly, a lot of women don't realize, a lot of the ladies that realize they want, to have glutes and all this other stuff, that if you work on your upper body and you kind of trim that down a little bit, sometimes it give you a little bit more shape, because you're working that down the lower half, but you also got to work the upper half. Right. You know what I mean? And I just think it's a great thing. But it's like that conversation is such a real, especially somebody who's been a trainer, and he's like, It's almost like in the back of your head, like, please don't ask me this question. If I work on the upper body, no. It's like you said, it takes so much. And I'm glad that you're here as a representative of somebody who does it, and you don't have that.
Right. And I've been working out. I've been lifting for years, and I am not. I'm not out here looking like the Hulk. And if I wanted to, it would be difficult. Like it would take a little extra, for sure. But yeah, a lot of ladies want that Coke bottle shape. Like you gotta have balance. Backs are sexy, right? I think a lot of people are realizing that now too. So you want the nice slim waist effect. You gotta lift upper body along with the.
I'll be honest with you. I had a client, my first ever client I trained, and I remember she questioned wanting to continue, and I was like, okay. And she went to a cookout after working out with me so many weeks and stuff like that. And she's like, no, I got signed up. She's like, I went to the cookout. They couldn't stop talking about me. They couldn't get off. I couldn't beat these dudes away from me with a broom. Like it was like, I was like, yeah. I said, I told you. Okay. I was like, nobody's trying to hurt you, but you know what I mean? It is what it is. And you know, what are some things you are interested in trying, like as far as fitness? Like, is there, you know, obviously, like you have the gymnastics background, the track background, you know, and all these new things. Like we talked about high rocks off camera. You know, I took one Pilates class, almost died.
Pilates, doing Pilates right now, it's crazy.
I'm not gonna say I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I was like, I didn't realize how intense it was. I'm like sweating bullets. I'm like, okay. I was doing good, and then they was like, nah, you got to do the side plank thing with the thing move with the board thing moving back. I was like, I don't know how that's gonna go.
Right.
So there's all these other types of fitness. Anything that piqued your interest?
Yeah, I love all of it. So I'm tapping into Pilates right now. I'm also, I love boxing.
Okay.
I love to do more of that, and pole fitness too.
Okay. Hey.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed by the pole. No thing, because if anybody's ever been and you see somebody get all the way the hell up there, you like, hold up now. How you do that? And you listen. That's
they gotta be shot. This takes a lot of skill. Like,
well, do you think it's more core or leg strength?
I feel like upper body.
Yeah.
Like upper body, upper and core for sure.
Okay.
Like you're literally swinging and hanging, and to be able to have so much control.
Okay.
In your body, like it's definitely core. To be able to control your body like that.
Okay.
It's insane.
It's impressive. I will say that, to say the least. And I'm not going nowhere down no rabbit holes or anybody, but sometimes I'm like, if I open the gym right now, I would have a section for the ladies. They can go in, maybe its own entrance, and I would say, yo, go ahead, find somebody who's an instructor and go ahead, because I guarantee you those classes will be full.
Right.
Like,
no, definitely.
I just think that some things is like, I would have two classes. I would have the pole fitness class, and I would have a soca fitness class.
Oh my gosh, yes, super lit.
Yeah, I like.
Super lit. That's gonna be my workout my entire time in Trinidad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's definitely gonna be. It's not. It's the what do they call it? It was the neat natural exercise activity.
Yes.
That's gonna be your neat activity.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's just gonna be, like I said, you're gonna need a vacation from the vacation. No high rocks though. No.
Oh yes, no, definitely high rocks.
Yeah.
So I'm. Let me not say definitely. I'm like, wait a
You're
minute.
on film now. We got it.
I'm like, wait a minute. But I'm definitely looking into that for sure. Like, I'm not a CrossFit person, but I think high rocks is totally different from the CrossFit. It adds a little bit more. I don't even know.
Stamina, endurance.
Yes, like endurance and everything, the running and all that. So yeah, I would love to.
I work at a gym. Shout out to All Day Fitness. Get them there. I work at a gym, and they're starting to All Day Fitness in Dunellen, New Jersey, 6 South Washington Ave. Blah 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 blah. Come through any day, anytime. dope classes. But they're starting to push high rocks a lot. And, after a while, like, I teach Tuesdays and Thursdays, lunchtime grind. And, after you, get familiar with the gym and people know you, they keep egging me on. They be like, yo, when you going, I'm like, all right. And, that competitive, it takes a while for those competitive juices to get going. And they're like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. And then, but once I say I'm going to do it, like, and it's that solid, I'm going to do it, it gets done. But then, like, I got to drop like at least 20 to feel comfortable doing something like that. But yeah, I mean, High Rocks, it looks official. The head trainer there, he's like traveling around the country, going to all the different cities doing it and stuff like that.
Oh,
and he's got like all these medals and all this other stuff. So it's interesting. And I was like, at least it's not like I don't think I would want to do a marathon. That's not me. I'm not a marathon guy. I was just like, although I could do it, but it's like, I don't think I would want to.
Yeah.
Like that's a different level of grit. You know what I mean? You said you did a marathon, right?
No, I haven't done a marathon. I was training for a half marathon, but I ended up doing too much at once. And so, going back to like the New Year tip, don't do too much at once. I ended up getting injured and getting tears on my Achilles.
Oh.
But a marathon, I fight with that. I go back and forth because it's like I would love to do it to say I did it and just to like have the challenge of the training for it and everything. But it's the mental aspect of it for me. Like just the thought of having to run for that long, and not the physical, not run for that long and the feeling of it. Like the physical piece I can deal with, but it's just like, I feel like I'm gonna be like, it's an hour and I still have 2 more left.
Yeah. Oh, we still going, huh? Yeah. Like I'll be seeing the people, I'll be like, when they at the finish line, I'd be like, and they be crying. I'd be like, yeah, I'll be crying too.
Word.
I'd be crying in a wheelchair though. Like, yo, give me a wheelchair and a blanket. I'm never doing this again. Speaking of never doing this again, what is a funny moment you've had in your fitness journey? Like,
oh my gosh, any funny moments during my fitness journey?
Any funny that you feel like talking about on camera?
Right. Oh my gosh, can I even think of it? Oh my gosh, okay. Maybe the time. Yeah, I'm like, dang, thinking back to this.
Sure.
The time where and this is so dangerous.
Oh.
Yeah, I got so hurt. But I loaded the squat rack and it was uneven.
Ooh.
And I did it, and I thought I was going for PR. It wasn't a PR. Started cheering, like getting so excited, and then the weights. It was literally like a ghost. The weights like just flew off the bar, and we were like, "What the heck?" I have to see if I can find that video. It was absolutely insane. Just the entire moment. So starting off with like the weights being uneven, somebody was like far away that saw, so that's how I found out, because they're running.
You're like, yo,
like the weights. I'm doing it. Here I am, like celebrating, thinking I just had a PR. So I'm like, oh, let's go. And while I'm there with the bar, like, let's go, the weights fly off like there was a ghost there. So it was just a mess. The entire
Moses running the rest.
The entire thing was just a mess for her to come over and be like, did you see what you just lifted right now? And I was like, what? Like, wasn't that a PR? And she was like, girl, there was 1 weight here, 3 weights here. It was just a mess.
Something like that happened. Well, not that, but I was lifting. I was bench pressing and push day. But at the gym I was at, they had this funny rack. And so I'm putting the weight back, and I'm like, and I missed the racking section, because my arms were almost a little bit taller than the racking section. So when I put it back, I got real relaxed, and then I let it, and I was like, oh, I'm still going,
Yeah.
And I let it go, and then the other trainer comes and he's in the other room, and he's like, And the crazy thing is, he's just looking at me like, just he don't say nothing, like just shaking his head. I'm like, dang, dog, you ain't even gonna see if I'm all right. You just gonna shake your head like, see,
right.
So yeah, I mean the thing about fitness is, like you said, we have these moments where you could trip, you could fall, as long as you get up, I guess you're good. But it's such a interesting space to be in, and you slipped on it. You slipped in a shameless plug, talking about what was that program you were telling you were doing?
Strong and Sexy.
Strong and Sexy. So what is Strong and Sexy all about?
We strong and we sexy. So Strong and Sexy, my Strong and Sexy program, it is a 12-week program.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna start out with 4 weeks, and then you can add on the 8 weeks and 12 weeks if you like.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
The basis of the program, it's primary. Anybody could do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's primarily targeted towards women.
Okay.
And like I said, it's just giving women the resources.
Get you out the corner.
Yep. Get you out the corner, because come on.
Come on.
Get women out the corner, and help them to show up and take up space when it comes to the gym. Like, help you reach your goals.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to be sexy, we want to be confident, but confident on all levels, right? So not just physical, but also mental. Feel like you have the tools to get out the corner and to support yourself and to show up in these spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And develop everything that you need, both internally and externally, and then they work together too, right? So as you build that internal motivation and confidence and self-awareness and all of that, it decreases all the self-doubt and everything like that to then help you physically,
mm-hmm.
To show up in that space, to do the work that you need to hit your goals, to get sexier, and all of the things. So the program is strength training based program, but I also added in some athletic movements to it too,
mm-hmm.
To help work on performance. And then there's also a mindset piece in there too, to make sure we're
that's pretty dope.
touching on the mindset.
Can I ask, what are, without giving too much away, you always got
Right.
slide that in there. What are two things that you can share from a mental health or mental perspective that you add in there that are like, okay, this is going to help you get from point A to point B?
Two things from like a mental and mindset aspect that I put in there. So one thing is affirmations. So I'm very big on the power of tongue, and I think that whatever we say is, it affects what happens to us in real life, and it affects our experiences and how we experience things. So putting affirmations in there, but creating them from anything that we have self-doubt with.
Mm-hmm.
But so let's say somebody is not confident, right? So taking that limited belief and turn it into an affirmation. So
mm-hmm.
I am confident. And then using those affirmations throughout your journey, and using them to help you just overcome those obstacles and retrain your brain, and release any of those things that may be limiting you.
I'm gonna tell you what the ultimate affirmation is. Soca music. Soca music. I'll tell you that.
That's it.
Yeah, like I will. I especially on days where, because I'm like, I don't want to say I run from leg days. Like, there's been times when I'm like heavy and I'm hitting legs all the time, and then some days when I was like, I don't feel like doing this. I don't. That's why I like the gym we met at so much, because they have different leg machines. So if I don't feel like putting any, like, sometimes I put the bar on my back and I do feel a little pressure, and I'm like, oh, not today. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if your body isn't, sometimes you got to listen to your body, and you also, although we want to push limits, you also got to have a relationship with your body where you're like, your body's like, not today. And you have to just be like, okay, I gotta respect it, but I'm still gonna get this work done. And so when you go to a place like that where they have alternative machines, where I'm like, okay, well, I may not put the bar on my back today, but I can still do this pendulum squat, pendulum squat. I'm sorry, or if I do like a hack squat instead of doing this, there's other ways to get or what do they say, more than one way to skin the cat.
Yes.
And I like that, but when I have that and some soca music playing, it's a go. You know what I mean? It's